A true love story. Hello, friends. Today we celebrate the feast of the Most Holy Trinity. Now, who or what is the Holy Trinity? I think we all know that Trinity means three: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Three persons, one God. That's easy to say, but once we start trying to understand God, we may find it difficult, or even more than difficult, just impossible. So here's a story of someone who was fascinated with the Holy Trinity. His name was Augustine. We now call him Saint Augustine. He spent 16 years trying to understand and write about the three-in-one God. One day he was walking on a beach beside the sea and thinking and puzzling over it when he noticed a little boy running up and down from the sea to a hole he had dug in the sand. He had a big shell in his hand and was carrying seawater in it. Augustine called out to him and said, "My boy, what are you doing?" And the little guy smiled and said innocently, "I'm filling the ocean into this hole." The boy, "The ocean? But that's impossible, my child. The huge ocean cannot fit into that little hole." The boy stopped what he was doing and looked straight into Augustine's eyes. "But aren't you trying to do something as impossible? You're trying to put the mystery of the Holy Trinity into your little head." The words hit St. Augustine like a lightning bolt. When he looked down again, the child had disappeared. That's when he realized that he had been sent from heaven. No, we can never put the great, holy, everlasting, three-in-one God into our little heads. And that's why the church calls it a mystery. But the good news is that God wanted us to know Him, even if we can't properly understand Him. And so He revealed Himself. He showed Himself to us, bit by bit, as much as we could understand. And He's still helping us to know about Him, to know Him. So the church calls it divine revelation. And I like to call it the greatest love story because it's all about love. So would you like to hear the story in a very short way? So once upon a time, there was nothing. No world, no people, no stars, no sun, but there was God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And they lived in perfect love and harmony. Each one was God, but all three were one. No one was greater than the other, but they shared everything, just like one very close, happy family. St. John says, God is love. And love always wants to give, to reach out. The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit wanted to share their wonderful life and joy and love with someone. But of course, there was no one to share it with. And so God said, let's make human beings. And we'll make them in such a way that they will be able to share our life and our love. And so God began creation. When I say God, I mean all three persons work together. The Holy Trinity always works together. And so He made the angels, the universe with its stars and moons and planets, and a very special planet, the Earth, with its mountains and seas and rivers. And He filled the earth with every kind of plant and birds and fish and animals. And finally, the best of all, human beings. God was pleased with all He had made, and everything in creation He made was to bless us and to help us to know Him better. Now, what do you think when you look at God's creation? What do you get to know about God? that He is good and beautiful, awesome and wise and caring. So to continue with the story, we know what happened next. Instead of loving and trusting God, our first parents turned away from Him. They believed the lies of Satan and disobeyed God. They sinned, and with sin came death and separation. So what did God say? Okay, if they don't want to live with me, let them be, let them die? No. Instead, He planned to make a way back, and this way was Jesus. And so through the centuries, God prepared the world for Jesus. He did it by calling and speaking to Abraham and his family. He spoke through Moses, through the prophets, through the nation of Israel. And all along God was saying, look, this is who I am. I'm a father. I care for you. I plan for you. You can trust me. And at last, when the time was right, Jesus came and became one of us, a human being. The Father sent him, the Spirit worked within him, and now we could really see and hear and touch God Himself. Because Jesus Himself said, when we see Jesus, we see the Father. And Jesus taught and healed and worked miracles, and finally He died for our sin, and He rose again. Now, did God stop working now? Did He say, now my Son has done everything, you manage on your own? Yes or no? Let's read today's Gospel and find out. A reading from the Gospel of St. John. Jesus said, I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. When the Spirit of truth comes, He will guide you into all the truth, for He will not speak on His own authority, but whatever He hears, He will speak, and He will declare to you the things that are to come. He will glorify me, for He will take what is mine and declare it to you. All that the Father has is mine. Therefore I said, He will take what is mine and declare it to you. The word of the Lord. So just one question today. What was God's plan after He sent Jesus to help us to be able to know Him and at last enter His life? What was Jesus talking about in today's Gospel? His Spirit. God's plan was to send His Spirit to live in us. If you remember the feast we celebrated last week, the day the Spirit came was the day the church was born. We call it the birthday of the church. And so, God gave us a home, a family, and food to help us on our journey. And now it's up to us to cooperate with the Holy Trinity, with the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Look at this picture. It's a famous icon of the Holy Trinity. And through the centuries, it has helped people to think about and pray to God. The artist painted all three figures to look like angels, but they represent the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Why do they all look the same? Maybe to show us that they are equal and they share the same nature. The figure on the left represents the Father. And if you look closely, you will see a house behind him. Jesus spoke about his Father's house, which has many rooms. And he also told us about the father and the prodigal son. The father was waiting for his son to come. The middle figure represents Jesus. He is bowing to the Father as the Father shows him the cup. What is this cup? Jesus said, I am ready to take the cup of suffering which my Father has given me for our sake. And if you look behind the figure of Jesus, there's a tree which reminds us of the cross, which has now become a tree of life. And on the left, we have the Holy Spirit. He also is bowing to the Father, and He also is ready to do His part for us. Now, what about us? Where do we fit into all this? Can you notice something about the seating at the table? There's a space in the middle. There's space for us. The artist was trying to tell us that the Holy Trinity invites us to join in the feast of love. This is our home, our eternal home. And this is what God made us for, so that we too may join in this feast of love. So friends, ask yourself, am I ready? Do I trust God? Do I desire to enter this communion of love? Just spend some time quietly before God and ask the Spirit who is at work in you to help you even now to enter into the love of God. If you are in a group, share how you relate to the Holy Trinity and which person of the Trinity you feel you would like to relate to more. And for your prayer time, each one can make the sign of the cross very slowly. And as you pray, as you make the sign of the cross, pray in your own words, first to the Father. Thank Him for creating you, for providing for you, for being such a loving Father. As you cross your turn to the Son, then thank Him for what He did to save you. Invite the Spirit. So friends, bye from Family Faith Time. Let us draw closer and closer into the life and the love of our wonderful God. And if you feel it would help someone else, please do share this video.